How do we rebuild our self trust after experiencing narcissistic abuse as Black women? This is a healing conversation tonight. So if you are here, welcome. Thank you for joining. My name is Marissa Price. I'm a healing practitioner helping sensitive, introverted, and/or high achieving Black women heal from trauma, reclaim our authenticity, and lean fully into our power. And today I have a wonderful guest with me, Elyse. So I'll pass it over to her to introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Elyse. I go by Elyse Vonne in these YouTube streets, and I
Yes.
am a Black woman healing. Would you like me to talk about my channel a little bit too, as well,
Yeah,
Marissa?
please.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yes, I'm a Black woman healing, and on my channel, I am documenting my healing and self discovery journey, um,
Yes.
rebuilding my self trust, reclaiming joy, learning new things, and just choosing to live out loud as my most vulnerable, well, while being vulnerable and authentic. So that's what I'm doing. Healing from trauma is, I talk
Hmm.
about that, things I've learned from growing up with a narcissistic mother. So I know we're going to get into
Hmm.
that a bit today, and just growing in all areas of my life, taking my life back and wanting to be an inspiration for others by doing it out loud, which is a little scary, but I just feel that that's part of what I'm supposed to do, to hopefully make it less lonely for others, you know?
Hmm.
Oh, and I
Hmm.
also dance.
Yes, we're gonna get into it. Yes.
Yes, yes.
And you have a wonderful resource to share, which I'll link here as well. So please subscribe to Elise's channel. I just linked it in the descriptions or the chat if you're here live. But yes, your channel is a place of authenticity, right? And just your videos that you upload, especially recently, like sharing your journey of healing from narcissistic abuse, and just being really open about that and transparent. I think that's what we need, right? As we're on this, a lot of us are on this healing journey of recognizing what has happened to us throughout our lives. Can I ask, like, what made you have this feeling and thought to begin to open up and share your journey around this? Anything that you want to share?
I mean, so many things. I just really got tired of feeling like I was living like as a shell of myself, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. Because it's just I haven't been able to fully just share. And I feel like I've been hiding for a very long time, right? And so like when I when I started to realize what was happening in my life, I felt very lonely for a very long time, which
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
added to all of the like turmoil that I was going through as I was starting to come out of this haze of just trauma and stuff that I was in. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just felt like at one point I was like, oh, I want to write a book one day, right? But
Mm.
I can
Mm-hmm.
share on YouTube now, and it's just like if I can help anybody and on their journey, then that's what I want to do by encouraging people to speak about in the way that they feel most comfortable, right? But speak about what they've been through. Don't be ashamed because we know shame really, it really does a number on
It
you.
does. It
And
does.
then just being in therapy all these years and stepping into more more recently like trauma therapy, I think is actually helping me even more. And I just like I knew I wanted to share this side
Mm-hmm.
of things when I first started my channel, but I it took me like a year really to be comfortable to find that comfort to do it. So just I just want to share and be an example that you aren't defined by your trauma, I guess. And if we want to put it in a,
Mm.
and it was just like,
That's huge.
all right, girl. I've always been kind of outspoken, which is something that has been difficult uh, with my parents, So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
why not be more outspoken about this part, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's huge, as you said, like realizing that we're not defined by our trauma. And also, as you mentioned, like shame, the impact of feeling like we can't share things that have happened to us on our own time, because sometimes it takes a second, a minute, years to get to the point where it feels comfortable sharing out loud. But once you're at that point, right, just really like disintegrating that sense of shame within yourself. And it's just amazing as you start to share your journey, other people who it resonates with are just, they're drawn to you. And so this community is like naturally built when we're able to open up and share what has happened with us. Have you found that on your channel that people like have been commenting and sharing their similar experiences?
Definitely when I posted that video, my initial video,
Mm-hmm.
yes. I think I'm still, yes. So yes, I'll leave it
Mm-hmm.
there. Yes. Yes.
Yes. And Ashley says, yes. Hey, Ashley, authenticity is one of my personal and business values. Yes. Yes. Mine too. Yep. And I feel like, especially on YouTube, it's doing kind of like long form content. It's very difficult not to be authentically yourself because it's going to like show up, right? When we're doing like live
Eventually.
streams, right? Hour-long live streams,
Eventually.
like, yes, who you
Mhm.
are authentically is really going to appear. And I think that's the beauty of the community here on YouTube. We get to see people, right, in their full authenticity, which we don't always get to do. Yeah. But I do want to ask any advice you have for rebuilding trust in ourselves after experiencing something like narcissistic abuse, which you mentioned in your video. Any tips if people are out there navigating a similar situation, maybe with parents, maybe in the workplace, how you can begin to really rebuild the trust in yourself? Anything that you want to share?
Yes. Well, what did I do? I mean, I had to put boundaries in place for one to like kind of get
Mm-hmm.
myself out of the situation before I could
Mm-hmm.
even start to approach healing at all, to be 100% honest, because it was just very challenging to even try to have trust in myself at all when I was still in a situation. So I had to be quite frank, just get tired and fed up of feeling like I was feeling, experiencing the stuff I was experiencing, and like being like, hey, you have to save yourself, whatever that looks like. And so
Mm-hmm.
for me, it was just, I mean, boundaries, like, because I didn't really start my healing. Like, I started to see things while I was still within the toxic structure. But once I stepped away is when I really started to heal. And so then I could start to try to work on my rebuilding my trust, my self
Right.
trust. And I'm still, I would say I'm just now, I mean, 5, 6 years later, just
Mm-hmm.
now ready to really start trusting myself again, to be 100% honest. So
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, it was setting those boundaries, to setting those boundaries and getting out of the situation so that I could start to see more clear and go from there.
That's huge. Yeah. And I think it's so important, those of us who are recovering people pleasers too, to begin like starting small, because it can feel like, how am I ever going to get to this point? Like, we often know what we need to do to establish these boundaries, but it's like the part of getting there can feel like so difficult. How do I ever do this? And so I think like starting small can be helpful. Like, as you mentioned, it's like starting small with the things that you know that you can more easily say no to. And then
Yeah.
over time, like working your way up to the bigger things to say no on, protecting my energy. As you mentioned, like saving yourself is so important, self preservation. Anything that you want to share around that, like the importance of making sure that you are well in your own life?
Oh my goodness. I mean, jeez. Well, it's, I mean, it's so important because like I just I just didn't want to be living anybody else's life anymore. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and so it was just, I didn't know what that would look like for me, to be 100% honest. Like, I had no idea what life on the other side could look like,
Yeah.
but I just knew that something wasn't right. And this person over here is doing everything to preserve themselves, even if it is really hurting me. So I have to do the same. Like, I have to focus on myself, and
Mm-hmm.
just recognize that I'm important enough to focus on myself, and it's not selfish. It's not
Ooh,
selfish because
yes. Mm-hmm.
I was hearing that, but I just I just was like, this can't be all that there is to life, to be honest. I
Mm-hmm.
hope that answered your question. Like
It does.
yeah,
It
yeah.
absolutely does. And I think that's really important. Recognizing that you are important enough to establish boundaries. A huge part of like me healing from narcissistic abuse in the workplace has been self-worth rebuilding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like going back to the points where my self-worth has been impacted throughout my life, and then really like addressing those, and get it building that back up, so that with that I feel like also comes self-trust when you're
Okay.
able to rebuild your self-worth, right? And just getting through that process, little by little, right? Giving yourself time, grace, compassion, I think is important. But that's so important. As you mentioned, you are important enough to establish boundaries to preserve your sense of self. Yes.
Yeah, and I just want to say, in terms of like you saying it was important for you and continues to be important to you to like go back and examine like who you were before you even experienced these things. In
Hmm.
terms of the self-worth, that was really was and a little less challenging for me now, but that was really difficult, being that when I looked back um
Hmm.
years that it was I was experiencing these things at the hands of a parent, and so that was really
Hmm.
forming the way that even my brain was shaped as a young child.
Yeah.
So I know like that was really difficult because I would be like, well, I don't know what I really wanted or what, like I couldn't really identify, I guess, that self-worth piece for a long time, to be honest.
Mm.
It was difficult. It was difficult.
Yeah. And can I ask about that? How did you, since it was like you experienced this with a parent, how did you begin to, I guess, identify your authentic self since it started so early on? What was that
Well,
process like?
I think what helped me, and this might sound a little strange, maybe not, but I started to like really think back on times that, like, things that I was told were wrong about me, if that makes sense.
Mm,
So, like, for
it
instance,
does.
hearing you talk too much or you always have something to say, things like that. And I'm like, oh, maybe I just am self-assured in that way and like to engage in conversations and really like
Hmm.
to connect with people, right? So it's like, oh, let's explore that and see what that's about. Or um like, what was something else I would hear? Kind of like, you think you know everything, when it was like, no, I just am heavily like, um I love to gain knowledge, which is great.
Hmm.
So it's like seeing,
Yeah.
looking at the negatives that were being pointed out and then being like, what's on the other side of this? And being like, oh, does that feel true to me? Do those things that I'm identifying feel true to me? And then go from there. Like, those were kind of starting places for me. Um, yeah, yeah.
That's really important. Like getting, what I'm hearing is like getting curious about what
Mm-hmm.
was said, right? And
Absolutely.
then
Yeah.
exploring the other options, and not viewing what this person says as the thing that's true, but just like from their perspective. And then once you like view it through that lens, there are all these other things that can exist outside of that.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
powerful. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So put that in the chat too. Get curious. Yes. And so I want to ask just like some signs that our self trust may have been affected by narcissistic abuse, maybe in your own experience, how we can recognize those signs if we're in adulthood, and maybe looking back towards childhood, um, to connect the dots and being like, oh, what I experienced was actually narcissistic abuse. And this is how it's showing up for me in adulthood. Anything that you want to share around that?
I think a really big one is questioning myself a lot. So in adulthood, so like for me, I can kind of go from zero. Like, I struggle with being black and white. so I can kind of go
Hmm.
from like it's either this way or that way. Um, and so, sorry, I just had a brain freeze. It's crazy.
Oh no, you're fine. You're
Sorry about that. But
fine. No worries.
anyway, take it back. Questioning myself a lot about like, is this the right thing to do? That has
Hmm.
shown up a lot in my life. And not recognizing the difference between the voice, the negative voice in self talk in my head and my intuition. Um,
Yes. Uh huh.
yeah, those are the biggest things that I have recognized in my adulthood that I struggled with. And I didn't realize that. I really didn't realize it at all. And then it's like, oh, other people, not everybody struggles with like questions their self or like doubts their self this much. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. So those are the biggest biggest things for me. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. And those can be like pathways to like awareness and understanding. Once you're out in the world, as you said, and realize, oh, not everyone struggles with this, not everyone doubts themselves. And then getting curious to your previous point about like, where did this come from? Where did I start to receive this messaging to create this sense of doubt? And I want to ask you about like how you're able to now tap into the power of your intuition, which is huge for people who have suffered from narcissistic abuse. Reconnecting to your intuition after that experience can be extremely difficult, and just any steps that you're taking to now like heed your intuition, like strengthen that relationship that you have with it now.
Yeah. Funny enough, in my most recent video, I actually talked about this a little bit. And so what I am doing now is just experimenting with it could be something small like I don't know, it doesn't have to be a big thing, but like what what do I feel about it and like act on it and see kind of what happens. That's really
Mm.
what
Hmm.
I'm doing. So the biggest example that I can give right now is the video that I posted. And I um woke up that morning with the intention of recording something completely different, and I was just not in the mood to do it. And then I just started feeling like, maybe it's time to tell this story. I know this will just flow out of me. So I did it, and then I posted it, and so many people saw it and connected with it. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
so this is what it's like to really follow your intuition. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Something else that happened was for a while, I was not sure if I wanted to share that I even had a YouTube channel on my Instagram page, because
Hmm.
more people over there are more like like they know me more personally. And I was
Yes.
like, I don't know if I'm ready to do this. And last week or the week before, I finally just posted on my story that I had a YouTube channel. I showed what it was about. And I received a message from somebody who I shared space with in when I was like working in the family business.
Hmm.
And she told me that she watched 3 of my videos, and she like the message that she gave me was so encouraging, and that was me following my intuition. And I was like, oh look, I was scared of this or the outcome, but I just did it and didn't think about it too long, because I mean the potential
Hmm.
consequences, I guess, weren't that like negative consequences didn't bother me that much, whatever those could be.
Right.
And it turned out to be really healing to receive that message, the message that I received from her. Um, so yeah, just taking those small, it doesn't have to be that big, but just those small steps, checking in with yourself and testing it out is how I'm
Test.
doing it. I mean, I don't really know another way to do it versus, aside from just, I hate to say putting your feet in the fire because it's not really fire, but like just stepping out there, you know? Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just doing it. As you said, like little by little, taking those steps to, and I love what you're saying around like getting curious and like experimenting with your intuition, like leaning into play so that it doesn't have to be
Mhm,
so serious, right? Because if
mhm.
we think about ourselves as children, often we have a much deeper connection to our intuition, and we're
Absolutely.
much more like connected to play, right? And so even bringing that into adulthood, experimenting, if I try it this way, what happens? And that's funny because I find like if I post videos on YouTube too, when I'm just trusting like the inspiration that's downloaded to me and making a video, it tends to like connect with people and resonate so much
Mm-hmm.
more deeply than when I am in my like overthinking, perfectionism, um, things that I'm trying to unlearn. And so that's so interesting when you just really lean into the power of your intuition, how many people resonate with your message. Yeah. But yes, I'd love to ask the role that self compassion has played in healing for you from narcissistic abuse. Self compassion, being gentle, being your own safe place, anything that you like to share.
I didn't have it for a very long time, Marissa.
Mhm.
I did not have it for a very long time. And something that's just coming to me right now is that maybe that finally starting to tap into that self compassion now might be why I feel like I'm even more confident in sharing and showing up because
Mm. Mhm.
I I mean the self blame, the just kind of like why did this happen to me or why is it this way plagued me for a very long time. I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie to you. So
Mhm.
I'm still working on that. It is, I mean, but I know, for instance, I had a moment recently within like the last month where I was starting to kind of spiral in negative self talk, and I felt myself like I caught myself, and I said, "Wait,
Mm.
that's not your core self speaking." That was the first time I feel like I've ever consciously done that.
Wow. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
when I did that, I said, okay, it's okay to feel that, but that's not who you are. And then it kind of just, it's like, it kind of just floated away from me. That was the first time. And I was like, wow, is this what this is like to have compassion and like grace for yourself? Um, so I'm just feeling like I'm stepping into that piece, to be honest.
That's
Yeah.
powerful. That pause, right? And something we talked about. I just finished hosting my first group facilitation around silence your inner critic, and this was one of the themes that we had. Right, is like the power of the pause,
Mm-hmm.
pausing when you initially hear that self-critical message come on, taking a second to pause as you did, asking yourself like, oh, this is this my voice? Right? No, I know my core self wouldn't be criticizing me because we don't come here criticizing ourselves. And so this means that it's a voice that I've internalized, which means that I can also choose a different one, right? That is more authentic to me. And again, getting curious, go down the road of self compassion, of being gentle. If your default is self criticism and self doubt, what could the other path be that you haven't explored yet? I love that. And I love what you said. It's okay to feel that, but that's not who you are. So beginning to differentiate, right? The message from who you are at your core, I think is
Yeah.
important.
Therapy, man, I'm telling you, it's helped me so much. It's helped me so much.
Yeah. And Shells, hello, says, yes, I resonate with Elyse and her journey. Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. Anything that you want to share around therapy and the impact that it has had if someone is considering starting therapy or navigating that?
Well, yeah. First, I'll say I recognize that everyone's not in the financial space to do it. I mean, it's not cheap, but I do know there are certain. I wish I had like looked up resources that I've or like collected them so that I've heard of that offer therapy at like discounted rates and stuff. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, what would I say about therapy? I mean, it. I guess maybe the biggest thing is like don't give up if you feel like it's not working. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Initially, it could be a multitude of reasons. Maybe the therapist isn't the best fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe the type of therapy you're doing for your situation might not be working or like the best fit for you. But don't give up because like don't give up too soon because if I had kind of tapped out in the early days, it wouldn't have led me down this route.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's just helped me, like initially. seeking out therapy initially was for like a lot of physical anxiety like symptoms I was having in my body. So I had to like kind of come down off of that ledge, so get my anxiety under control, and it was really
Mm-hmm.
helpful to do that. And like I mean I've been through like 5 or 6, maybe not that many, maybe like 4 therapists along this journey, but each one of them offered me something different that I needed at the time. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but it wasn't until the last 6 months or so, no, maybe almost a full year, that I was like, okay, maybe I should seek out trauma therapy, because I felt like I had made a lot of strides in a lot of other areas. Like my anxiety was much more under control and whatnot. But I was hearing like that inner critic that you were talking about. I was like, I feel like I'm being
Yes.
plagued by this. And I feel like this is, once I can break through this, I can start. I feel like I'll unlock way more potential than I've had before.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like the importance of finding the right therapist, I guess, finding the right kind of therapy that works for you is really
Mm-hmm.
important. And that has been extremely important for me in this journey.
Mm-hmm. That's so
Yeah.
important. And realizing like you can change therapists, right? If you find one that is not a right fit for you, you have the power to change that, right? And the same thing that we've been talking about, like having a more exploratory attitude around it versus what we've been taught so often is to be very rigid, um, and just give yourself that room, right? If something feels off, you can always go to a different therapist. That's so important. Yes.
Yes.
And I did link Loveland Foundation in the chat, and here's the website as well, offering therapy vouchers for Black women specifically. Yes, I do want to ask the connection between narcissistic abuse and the mother wound, as you talked about on your channel. Anything that you want to share around that?
Well, I guess first, like, do you have something like more specific that you want me to touch on when as it pertains to that, the narcissistic abuse in the mother womb?
Yeah, I think just what you shared on your channel, and just being able to recognize that this is what you were experiencing, and then beginning to share your journey. I guess for other people who may be connecting the dots, right? That the narcissistic abuse that you're healing from is rooted in your relationship with your mother, because that can bring up a whole different level of grief, and just how you've been able to navigate that if someone's in a similar situation.
Yeah, it is the mother wound. It's really tough because society at large, they've put mothers on a pedestal, and it's
Hmm.
really. I mean, I know we are literally wired to connect with our parents and our mothers a certain way. Like it's just something that we can't, spiritually, we can't disconnect from that. It is what it is. But I think recognizing that, let's see, I mean, because it's just been so much, so all of the thoughts are just coming to me. They're like all in there.
Yeah.
um I think facing, like, dealing with the grief around recognizing that I won't ever have the mother that I need and want has been
Hmm.
challenging,
Yeah.
um because and like wondering, like, what could this have looked like had I had a different, like a healthier parent, a healthier
Hmm.
mother,
Yeah.
because I recognize that, especially I was raised, my parents were divorced, so I was raised like my mother was my primary uh caregiver. And
Hmm.
like recognizing that there were a lot of great moments that I had with my mother, but also a lot of
Hmm.
them were not healthy. Like that duality of it, and facing that, just
Yeah.
experiencing like the
Hmm.
grief around that, and has been important. And I'm still, I am still continuing to like understand what the grief even looks like. But I think that's
Yeah.
something that's really, really big because I really did grieve what I thought my mother was versus what I was realizing that who my mother, well,
Mm-hmm.
her personality struggles, I guess I would say, what those were, and recognizing that it's not personal for me, but like it's not personal. The way that, how can I explain this? The the way that I'm treated by my mother has nothing to do with me. It's all about things that are within her, but
Yeah.
learning how to navigate in the world without like grieving a mother who's still there, like she's still alive. Like
Right. Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's been challenging, but I would say that now I'm able to separate a little better, like that she did,
Mm-hmm.
like just understand that she did the best she could, I guess, but not use
Mm-hmm.
that as an excuse to keep staying in the situation. I hope all of that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Like you
It
see me
does.
processing this in real time.
Yeah.
I kind of go, ooh, but
No, it
grief
does. It makes sense. Yeah.
is in the mother
Mm-hmm.
wound, and the grief around that is the biggest, is something that I continuously walk through.
Yes, yes. I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing that. And as you mentioned, like the duality, recognizing that you can still have like the positive memories of people, right? Even
Hmm.
if you are making these connections now that what you experienced was narcissistic abuse, that doesn't take away from the positive memories, the positive experiences that you had, and just holding space for both, right?
Hmm.
Is important. Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
Um, I want to ask just any practical steps that people can take that are listening to reclaim their voice after experiencing gaslighting, which is a really big component of narcissism. Anything that you've done to begin to reclaim your authenticity, right? To, I guess, like sharing on your YouTube channel is a huge step in that. Sharing your journey in anything that you've taken, the steps that you've taken to get to that place.
Yeah, sharing on my YouTube channel, like stepping, like try working to step outside of the shame and sharing in this like public way is definitely helping in that way. I would say I hate to keep going back to the boundaries part, but like when I think about my journey, it's like I
Mm-hmm.
had to set boundaries, get out of the situation, and then start so I can start to hear myself clearer, so that everything can start to make more sense. And I can
Mm-hmm.
be like, okay, what's authentically me? What's authentically not? What do I want? What are my core values? That's something that's been really helpful for me, is identifying my core values, and then like when I start to make decisions or whatever, it's like, am I living according to that, or what I'm hearing in my head and all the gaslighting? Like, is this a side effect of the gaslighting, or is this like really what I want? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I would say that's probably the biggest thing. And like the most practical step I can get, because I feel like more if we're aware of what we truly believe in, then it could be possibly be easier to have your authentic self come through. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and when you're just getting out of being conditioned by the gaslighting and all of that, I think that can be very helpful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. Yes, identifying your core values. So as you're beginning to trust yourself again, reconnect to your intuition, you have kind of like a net, right, for things to go through. Once you're able to establish, is this what I value, or is this what I was told to value? Is this what I want, or is this what someone else wants that they've projected onto me? And start to like differentiate yourself from the person who may have been narcissistic, and really coming into your authenticity. I think that's a really good point. Identifying what matters to you as an
Yeah.
adult, especially if you experience this as a child. Hmm.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
something that also just came up for me is I wasn't completely able to start doing this until I was like had safety within my mind, my body, all of these things, because I know that when we're experiencing this kind of abuse, like we're really kind of like on high alert all the time. We can be on high alert.
Yes.
And so a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these things are relatively maybe more recent for me because I finally feel like I've come down from all of the stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I think that's important. As I'm like thinking of it through like a trauma healing lens, I think that's
Yes.
really
Mm-hmm.
important for me to voice. Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. And I will be actually like starting a group healing program called Regulate to Reclaim, specifically about this topic, right? Nervous system
Okay.
regulation, finding ways to feel safe in your own body again. So I'll link that here if you're interested in enrolling. We start on Sunday. But that's so important to be able to feel safe in your own body, to have these regulation tools. I know that I have just started learning these in the past, like maybe 3 years, that I can tap into the power that my body has to regulate how I'm
Okay.
feeling. And that can create like the safe place, as you mentioned, to begin to process some of these childhood things that we experienced, some of these deeper memories, and make those connections in adulthood so that we can come into our full authenticity, right? I think
Yes.
that's so important. Can I ask, like, that journey, what that journey looked like for you, feeling safe within your own body once again?
Well, I had to get my anxiety under control. That was first because
Mm-hmm.
like I was having like somatic symptoms, like things were manifesting in my body, and so with the help of my therapist at the time, I was able to regulate a little more, and I was like picking up like meditation, mindfulness, things like that, to like when I was feeling myself getting tense or getting anxious, very anxious, I was like, okay, let me do some breathing in a moment
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
calm down. And so that was really, I think that was like the most powerful tool that I had initially, in terms of getting back, feel like to get back safe in my body and just like ground myself.
Yeah.
Um, and then over the years, I was going to the gym and not really connecting the mind body like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was helping me. And then now, even more so, like tapping into movement that I enjoy more, which is
Mm-hmm.
dance and like reconnecting with that. Um, is has helped me trust my body, begin to trust my body again. And it also like I understand, it can help get all the stuff out and transfer that energy out to then be able to see and hear more clearly, in terms of that safety. So that for most of for majority of like the early days of me stepping out of the abuse, it was a lot of mindfulness and deep breathing and stuff to just recognize, to calm my anxiety and to recognize, okay, you're okay. It was a lot of that.
Yes. Yes. That's so important. As you mentioned, breath work. I do want to talk about dance
Okay.
since you started uploading videos on dance to your YouTube channel as well. And you have a free dance class that people can access that I'll link in the chat as well. Just the role that dance has played. And as you mentioned, like reconnecting to your body, leaning into somatic healing practices to process the energy that is stored, to create like I guess like the awareness, the understanding. That's what
Yeah.
dancing and moving my body always does for me. I'm able to like connect the dots between things that before I was struggling with. Now it's like, oh, now I see the linkage after I've like processed the energy out. So
Mm.
anything that you want to share around the importance of dance on this journey?
Yeah, I mean, dance, me and dance go way, way back. And I just like,
Mm-hmm.
when I thought about when I was like, okay, how can I reconnect with my body now? And I thought back to my like younger Elyse when I used to be in dance class, and
Mm-hmm.
I would go maybe with an attitude, or maybe I had a bad day. And then I was like, oh, but when I would get out of class, even if I had a bad day, I was feeling okay. And like, I think I underestimated movement
Mm-hmm.
and the importance, like the importance of it and what it could do for your nervous system. Um,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh, so I was doing that. That was happening for me kind of unconsciously back then. But what happens now if I'm more conscious of that and intentionally use it in that way?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for me, dance allows me to get into my body and maybe express myself in ways that I don't necessarily have the words for. So maybe
Yeah.
it's not necessarily like you
Mm-hmm.
said for you, you've noticed that it helps you connect things that maybe you couldn't connect
Mm-hmm.
before you moved your body in that way. Whereas for me, maybe I've experienced so far that it just helps me express in a way that I otherwise couldn't, which then allows that kind of energy to get out of me. And then I can focus on other things when I'm like other things that need to be focused on over here after I finish, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's what I'm noticing for me in dancing. It just helps me feel free, and I don't have to really think about anything while I'm doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's dance for me. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I think as adults, right, the level of seriousness that we have in our lives so often, just being able to incorporate things that we used to enjoy doing as children back into our lives, knowing that we have the power to do that, and just seeing like the ways that those help us heal. A lot of times I've mentioned this before, but like healing is presented as this really like big thing that we have to undertake and it has to be really serious all the
Yeah.
time. A lot of times it's picking back up the activities that we have always enjoyed doing that maybe we put away because life became stressful, we were in an unsafe environment, and now that we have space to bring those back in, like the amount of joy that can be generated right through leaning back into these activities. So I love that. I want to ask the dance videos that you have on your YouTube channel. I guess the inspiration behind this, behind them, and where you're looking to take them in the future. Can we expect more dance uploads?
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, the inspiration was me and my journey and reconnecting with dance and like reclaiming dance for myself. So that's something that
Mm-hmm.
I discussed with my therapist, and she asked me, "Hey, do you like dance?" Like, just sit with that and ask if you like dance, because my experience, with the narcissistic abuse was heavily like dance was involved in all that, because it was
Mm-hmm.
a dance
Mm-hmm.
studio and my entire life was that. And so she asked me that, and I'm like, yeah. Anytime I hear a song, I can be anywhere. Anytime a song comes on, I'm moving my body. I'm in the grocery store, I hear something, I'm moving my body. That's just what
Mm-hmm.
that's just what I do. I'm singing, I'm dancing, and I'm singing or trying to sing. And so it was like, how can I reclaim it and also help other people feel great in
Mm-hmm.
their bodies, maybe learn something new that they thought they couldn't do before. Um, so people who maybe thought they couldn't dance or they wanted to, but they never took that leap. And also those who are like me who are coming, want to get back into it, but do it
Yes.
in a way that
Mm-hmm.
has some soul, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's me, I mean, my background was a lot of Eurocentric dancing, right? But also I have culture that has shaped me. I have background in stepping, with
Mm,
stepping. I
really?
did, yeah, West
Me
African
too.
dance, hip hop. Yes, I did it in, kind of did it a little bit in middle school at my little private Catholic school. A little bit in high school, but then college. And I was like the step master of our step team in my sorority. So,
Okay.
I mean, I have all these things that are in the pot. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was the inspiration. And I was like, all right, I started teaching dance when I was 15. And
Mm-hmm.
is something that I did for a very long time. And I said, oh, maybe I'm avoiding stepping into dance again, like reconnecting with it, because I hadn't
Yeah.
really danced in a while. And I'm like, all right, what better way to challenge myself than to post videos? Like,
Yeah.
got comfortable with it, and I am finding my flow with it. I want to do more dance videos. It's just balancing, you know how it is on YouTube, balancing the
Yes.
different things you post, and it requires the way that I do my dance videos, which is helping you. You're dancing, but also you're learning choreography, because I think that's
Mm-hmm.
also good to stimulate your brain. You know, it makes you think in a different way. And I have to create those numbers. You know, so it takes time, it takes energy. But right now, you can expect 2 videos a month. Right now, ideally, I would like to get that up. Um, but I'm also shifting how, like, I posted a couple videos where in the beginning, but I'm shifting. I have one coming out next week where I am shifting a little bit of how I'm doing it. So I think people will really like that. And yeah, I'm excited to see it grow, have it grow. I hope people like it. Again, it has soul. It has soul
Mm-hmm.
in it, and
Yes.
you'll see all the different I think you'll see all of the different kind of dance styles that I have in me come out in my routines. That's
Mm-hmm.
just how I move. That's just my style. So I really hope people like it. I'm having fun doing it and reconnecting and being like, oh, you actually really like this. So it's
Mm.
fun. Like you said, that play, I'm having
Yes.
fun with it. And I'm moving my body. That's another thing. I just want to move my body and help other people move in a fun way as well. So
Mm-hmm. I love it. Yes. And those of us who danced as children, right, adolescents, it's like reawakening those parts of ourselves. So please check out Elisa's channel for dance choreography tutorials. I want to ask about the free dance class that people can access, what they can expect from that, and just your process, I guess, for creating this and launching this into the world. As so many of us have been dancers, and kind of maybe like put that part of ourselves away for some time to be adults, right? This pressure to be very rigid, serious adults, and reawakening these parts. So yeah, what people can expect from this free dance class that you have. And I think I lost audio on my end.
oh no.
Oh, okay, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yes. It looks like my what about
Yes, I think we can hear you.
am I good?
Yes, yes, yes. Uh-huh.
I don't know what's happening. Um, but it's about a 30-minute class. I walk you through a warm up to some groovy music, and then we do a tutorial. It's like we're in a class and we're learning a combo. And then at the end, we perform that combo and then we cool down. So it's pretty structured. But it's like a mini class, 30 minutes, because if we were really doing a class, I would definitely probably make it a full class, 60 minutes to an hour and a half, so that we could also learn some technique and all these things. But you don't need to have really any technique. I walk you through it. I explain things in there. And yeah, I just want to make it accessible for people. That's another thing. Something else I
Mhm.
forgot to mention. That was another inspiration for me was I live in an area where this kind of style of dance and the environment of dance that I like to be in doesn't exist. So I'm like, well, I guess I can create this virtually. So that's
Yes.
me making it accessible. So that's what you can expect in the mini class.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And are there plans for future dance classes
Yeah,
down the road?
I'm
No
still
pressure.
working. Yeah, I'm still working to see what that looks like and like what would be best. Also, like as the audience grows for it, asking and
Hmm.
seeing what people would like to, as well. So make it a collaborative effort so that I can make sure I'm giving people what they find to be most beneficial. And I forgot to say, thank you, Marissa, for helping me with this. Kudos to
Oh yeah,
you
of
for
course.
helping. I did uh what was it, like a
It's
brainstorming
like a
session,
coaching.
I guess, coaching session with Marissa, and she's great.
Hmm.
So She really helped me with this and helped me connect the dots where I needed to connect the dots. So yes, that's what we have right now.
Yes.
I can promise
Oh,
you at least 2 videos a month right now of dance videos a month. But I do have a playlist that's getting longer, so go check that out.
wonderful. Yes.
Yes.
Well, we're excited. Whatever you launch on your channel, paid dance classes. Again, there's a lot of us who are reconnecting to our dance roots as adults. So I'm excited to see how this flourishes in the
Thank
future
you.
because
Me
there's
too.
definitely a demand. Yes.
That's great to
Yes.
hear. That's great to hear.
Wonderful. But yes, as we're winding down, I want to ask how people can stay connected with you online and anything else that you have to share. I guess when we put the dance class up one more time. So please access Elise's free dance class here. And yeah, how people can stay connected with you.
Yeah, my YouTube channel at Elyse Vonne, one word, and that's where you'll find me right now. And the dance class, and yeah, those two places right now, where you can
Okay.
find me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here, for sharing everything that you've shared. And please check out, again, Elise's channel. Again, that is linked here in the description section as well. Are there any last words or, I guess, a piece of advice that you have for someone who may be healing from narcissistic abuse and coming into their full authenticity?
I would say don't give up, um,
Mhm.
because you might feel like sometimes that you're going backwards, but you're really not. And you're healing. You're constantly going to be triggered. It's just what it is. Um, but know that as you're continuing to heal, you're gaining more tools to deal with it, and that you're capable, um, of moving through it all. And that healing is definitely, I know we hear this all the time, but healing is not linear, and that's okay. But like sometimes I'm like, oh, I thought I was over this, but I'm
Mhm.
learning, continuing to learn that it's just a cycle. But we pick up we pick up more tools along the way, and just learn to trust that you are healing and that you're not going backwards. I would say that.
Mhm. That's so important. Because even when it feels like you're going backwards, right? As you said, you have new tools. If it feels like I thought I already processed this, I thought that was in the past and it's coming back up, now you're a person with new tools, with a new awareness, with a new understanding that you've gained just by practicing, right, over time, by
Yes.
incorporating these wellness practices, by heeding your intuition. So it can feel like you're at the same place, but you're really not. And I think that's so important, as you said, to like remind yourself this is a journey and healing is not linear, right?
Yes.
Things can be brought up from the past all the time, but you have new tools to move through them. And that's the difference, right? So, yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
And hey, Dr. Maya, thank you for joining. But yes, I want to thank y'all so much for being here. If you are live in the chat, if you're watching the replay, please subscribe to my channel and Elise's channel as well. And comment below if anything resonates. But with that, I want to thank you again for being here and
Thank
for
you for
sharing
having
everything that you
me.
shared. Of course, of course. And yes, until next time, y'all, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Bye. Thank you.